Hello everybody, this is Chef Drew, or Cooking with the Ween. Today I'm going to be cutting a picanha, a whole picanha piece that has been taken off of the sirloin. Here are my two knives. I don't know which one I'm going to use yet, so I'm going to figure that out as I go. But I have my cut glove on, I have an apron, I have my apron on that I always have, and this I'm going to season them afterwards. But make sure to always wear a cut glove when cutting meat. It's always advised. Put it on the hand that is supporting the meat, not the one holding the knife. I mean, you can wear one on both hands if you want, but you don't have to. And I put these gloves on top, like this, when I'm handling meat. I work in a meat department, as a lot of you know, in a butcher department, meat and seafood actually. I am learning to become a butcher. Very slowly. Yeah, this is something I learned, and I got this picanha here because I am celebrating my girlfriend and I's 6 months together, and so I'm grilling us some steaks tonight. And so I bought a whole picanha for a very nice discount, and picanha is what I refer to as the queen of all steaks, not really named by me, actually named by Google Foods and many others, but it is very, very good. It's the top cap of the sirloin, so it's going to have a fat cap on top, and I'll just show you actually. We'll unpackage this here because we are cutting them right today. So here we have the butcher paper we can take off. We have the peach paper to help keep it preserved. We're going to remove that, and there we are. Let's see. There is our picanha. So as you can see, here is the picanha. This is the top cap of the sirloin. Here's the underside of it. So it's a really underrated cut of steak. It basically has the beefiness of a sirloin and the marbling of a ribeye often. And you can see there's this fat cap on top that goes this way. It's a triangular cut of meat. It's actually a Brazilian cut. And in Brazil, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll roast this thing whole, or they'll cut them into like a few pieces, and they'll skewer them, put them on these big skewers and roast them over a fire. That's a really cool way of doing it. I'm not doing that today. I'm just going to be cutting these into steaks. And so yeah, let's get started with that. So first thing I like to do with picanha, and this is only my second time cooking picanha, but as you can see, some parts of this fat cup here is pretty large. And so I'm actually going to trim a little bit of it off, but it's not going to go to waste because we can use this for things in the future. Almost never waste your beef trim, your beef fat, because that can be rendered down into a nice liquid gold butter for other dishes or other steaks. So I'm going to take this here, and I'm just going to support this side right here with my hand. It's best to use a bear claw technique like this, and I'm just going to start shaving some of this off. Always cut away from yourself and kind of just cut toward. And it doesn't matter really how this comes off. You're just going to kind of cut at a pretty flat angle because you don't want to take off any meat. Having a fat cap here is still good because that's, the fat is going to equal a lot of great flavor. But I like to trim mine just a little bit just because this one is a little bit too much, and often is a little bit too much. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with this. I have my trim right here, and I'm just going to put this and store this in a container for later. Alright, I'm going to grab this new knife here, and now we're going to look at the back here. So, as you can see here, here is our picanha, trimmed, all nice and ready to go. Get that little piece off right there. As you can see, the grains and the fibers on the steak run this way, as you can kind of see by those fibers. With most steaks, with most cuts, you want to cut against the grain so that you're cutting with the grain for a final bite. But actually with picanha, or top cap sirloin, whatever we want to call it, the rules are a little bit different. You actually want to cut with the grain. So I'm going to be cutting this way. And so I'm probably going to be able to get 4 steaks out of this, and I think that's going to be good. Some of them are, again, it's a triangle cut, so some of them toward this end are going to be smaller steaks, so that helps you have people that don't eat as much or whatever. But yeah, I'm going to cut this way, and I'm probably going to do about a couple inches thick for each piece. So yeah, maybe about the width of the blade of the knife. Actually, this knife might be a better measurement, honestly. Probably about the width of this blade. So I'm just going to make a little incision right here. And I know that's where I'm going to cut, because I'm going to use this knife for it. So let's do that. And you want to use one strong cut. This is not the greatest cutting board, so, you know, but there you go. There's one steak right there. Do the same thing here. I'm going to use this blade just to kind of see where I'm at. It's going to be right there for the second one. So we're going to put a little incision, and we're going to do this one like this. Get a little bit more of that in there. There's that second steak. So that's going to be a nice one. That's a bigger cut. And kind of keep that separated. Separate those fibers. There we go. Got a little bit more fat here. This is that fat cap down there. It's a little bit less trimmed there. So kind of this. Now normally when I've done this at work and such, I have a much bigger cutting board. So this is a little bit easier to do than this is here. But, you know, I'm at my parents' house, and this is pretty much our largest cutting board that we have. But here are our steaks. These are very long steaks. These are longer than I'm used to. Like these two especially, holy moly, these are big. But that's gonna be good, and they're very tender this way. So when we slice against, we're gonna do that. And here we have our picanha steaks. So these are gonna be really, really good. I'm gonna season them with salt, pepper, and garlic powder. I usually like to use Montreal steak seasoning, but my partner isn't fully into steaks, and so I'm gonna just kind of start, you know, for the first time of her having one of the steaks I've cooked, I'm gonna start pretty simple with the seasoning. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna have a nice Parmesan garlic butter that I'm going to put on top of the steaks as they grill. And that's gonna give it a tremendous flavor afterwards as well. So yeah, that's roughly how to cut a picanha. I didn't do a perfect job, as you can see. This one's a little bit thinner, and this one's a little bit on the thicker side. So I didn't do a perfect job, and this is only the second time I've actually cut this muscle. So, you know, I'm learning. But this is also, I also needed to test my new tripod and my camera. So I wanted to try doing a video of me cutting this stuff and see how close-up shots like this worked. And hopefully it turned out okay. But yeah, picanha, one of the greatest cuts of steak, one of the most underrated cuts of steak in my opinion. Get you some if you can. Yeah. Thank you for watching, guys. This has been Cooking with the Ween, or I don't know, cutting with the Ween, I guess today as we're saying. But yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed, and yeah, I'll see you later.